Hey, it's your boy, Sergeant Hooked on Heroes, hitting you with the final review for Kamen Geats, episode 49. Been meaning to record this pretty much all week, been really busy, new job stuff, and just life in general. But suffice it to say, this was a pretty rip-roaring good time of a finale. I was honestly pretty impressed overall, and enjoyed my time with it pretty much all the way through. 1 second here, we're just gonna... Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. Hold on, just a minute. There we go. Pretty much all the way through. I loved it. Lots of different opinions I've seen on good old Toku Twitter, but we're here to discuss how I felt about it in general, usually. Again, just my opinions on it, and nor am I going to try and tear down anyone else about it. But leading off of last week, we had the big shocking upset thing where Samuri pulled the gun, the Magnum, 40X shooter thing, on Ace. Pulled the trigger, done, right? We see the aftermath of that, finally. Sewell is just, absolutely excited about it. He even goes as far as to tell the whole public that it's happened, that Ace is gone, and, what have you. And, Neon and Michinaga and Keiwa are completely shocked and don't want to believe it. Samuri is beside herself, has no idea what to say or do, what to think, and is just completely distraught. And we'll get back to her in a minute. But then we swap a little bit to a different scene, which all of a sudden shows Jean and Sumeri at a memorial for Ace with the Geats 9 buckle on the altar, but in stone. It's all closed up and in stone. And leaving some tributes there, talking about the world that he left behind. And it's very weird because they do this, they almost make you think that, that's it. We're not going to save Ace somehow. He's not going to come back somehow. That's it. But really, there's two timelines at play, and we'll get there. So, Keiwa and Neon are, of course, very upset over what happened. And before this, we get, again, more with Sumeri talking to Dark Sumeri. That Dark Sumeri had kind of taken over, even though we'd never seen her do this before, and kind of forced her to pull the trigger. And so Sewell tells Samus and Dark Sumeri that he's going to take care of any other, little interruptions, meaning Keiwa, Michinaga, and Neon being the only ones left of riders that could possibly stop him. And so they go, he goes to do that, and first he goes after Neon and Keiwa, attacks them before, right as, they almost don't have a chance to transform. It's pretty impressive, honestly, how, ridiculous and, into it he is as far as wanting to kill them. And so they, of course, do transform in time. Of course, Bujin Sword, Tycoon, and Fantasy Neon. And they do decent at first, but of course his, ridiculous final boss, final villain powers kick in, and he's kicking their butts. But in comes Michinaga, supposedly to save the day. He's got his Mao powers activated. We don't know how, but whatever. And he's fighting, except Sewell uses reverse, right? And reverses him, the time around him, back to before he got his driver. Does it for the rest of them as well. They all dehenshin, whatever. And he picks up Keiwa, and he's about to beat his ass. And we go back to Samuri, who's totally distraught over what she did to Ace, doesn't know what happened, why it happened. She's upset that Dark Samuri was able to take control. And we also get some little bits of, Daiji and Punkjack and the Jamato that are fighting off some of the, other ride players, trying to keep them in place. And the Game Masters, right? So, Samuri finally, cries out for Ace, and he says something back to her, and she's like, what? And he's like, I'm here still, don't worry, this is part of my plan. And she goes, what do you mean? He goes, it'll make more sense soon, but I wanted him to do that. I wanted him to destroy my physical body. Hold on a minute. So, we go back to the fight where Sewell is just wiping the floor with the untransformed riders, right? Neon and Keiwa and Michinaga. Completely decimating them. And he picks up Keiwa, and Michinaga comes in to stop him, which I thought was cool. It shows the connection that they have, and that they, do care about each other as friends and everything. So he's trying to hold him back, and he can't really. He throws them all back. And they tell him that he's stupid. That he says that he's going to have complete control. They will not have happiness, blah, 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 blah. They can't stand up to him. And he's like, wow. Michinaga essentially says, wow, I thought you future people will be smarter than this. You really don't understand this? He's like, what do you mean? It's like, humanity will not ever give up on trying to fulfill a wish. Humans can't do that. That's part of their life. Their goal is to fulfill a wish of something they want to accomplish, and it's not going to stop just because you want them to. And I kind of like this a lot. I really, really do. I like that they're like standing up to him even though they don't have their powers. Clearly they'll get killed if they don't get help, but they do. Because they hear Ace come through. They say, each one are saying, Ace, we're with you. Ace, we're on your side, blah, blah, blah. Here he comes in on the bike for the season. Comes through and smacks Sewell around a little bit in Geats, the Magnum Boost form. So he's back, and his driver actually says, ready, fight. For desire. That was really cool. I like that little extra little thing they added to it. If you don't know, just recently after the episode aired, they put out a memorial edition of the Magnum and Boost buckle with longer handles on them, and just more closer to the prop size, and it plays that sound if you do it. Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. Probably not going to get it myself just because I don't have a lot of room for all of the extra buckle things, but I think it is cool for people that didn't grab Magnum and Boost initially to do it now. But anyway, he explains, because Sewell is completely floored that he's alive. It's like, how are you back? What the hell? I destroyed you, Geats. How are you alive? He goes, that was part of my plan. He goes, I made a promise to my mother as soon as I met her and first obtained the Geats 9 buckle that I would become a god. That I would become a god to ensure a world where everyone can be happy. So that meant being willing to give up my physical body, and you helped with that. So it was all part of his plan. He knew in some way Sewell was going to try to stop him, try to kill him, try to end him. And he wanted that, knowing that that would be the final thing to fully activate his godhood. I like this. Personally, I'm fine with it because it makes sense with everything we've gotten before. Every episode pretty much, or every other episode after the initial debut of Geats 9, Geats talked about that he's not in full control of his powers yet, doesn't have a full handle on them, but he's trying to. And it can be assumed that was because he was still technically mortal, and that was kind of like a block to accessing the full extent of his powers. I mean, it took everybody wishing for, Neon's, everybody that knew her happiness for her to even get the fantasy buckle, right? So I kind of like it because I like that they limited him, because that was my issue in Gaim, is that once Kota became a god, he just nothing could defeat him. He was just infallible, and it was ridiculous and stupid to me. Whereas in this, I was fine with Geats kind of attaining this god of creation power stuff because it makes sense the way that they describe it, the way that they level it, right? And again, there's multiple times where they ask him to do things, and he's like, well, they want him to recreate an ID core for Neon. He's like, I can't even do that. I don't have full control of these powers yet. And I like that. I really do enjoy that. I think that's cool that it's not just, yes, it may give him the strongest rider powers he can possibly have, but it doesn't make him completely invincible, perfect, can fix everything. I like that a lot. But he mentions that, like I said, the destruction of his physical body allowed him to ascend to true godhood and come back to help them. So he comes back, he gives them all their drivers back, so we get them in their base forms. Of course, it's the Takahashi season, so just like an X8 and a few other seasons he's done, it's the main riders in their base forms kicking the ass of Sewell. And it's a pretty good fight. It's a pretty good fight. We get, of course, Tycoon and Neon and, Tycoon, Nago, and Buffa beating the shit out of Sewell to the part where they all use the revolve on function to dodge out of the way of him, which we've seen done many times before, but it's just cool to see it together. Choreographed fight. They are kicking him around with, on the leg parts for the ninja, zombie, and beat buckles. Doing their thing, having a blast, beating the shit out of them. He finally ascends, uses Geats 9, and he tries to use pause on him. He goes, time is meaningless to one that is a god. Are you kidding me? And just completely wipes the floor with Sewell. Ends up throwing himself into his body and destroying it completely. So Sewell is not able to come back. And it's weird because we see this represented as Sewell's mask falling off and it's showing Ace. But what they meant was that he literally put his essence into Sewell's body and made sure it was completely destroyed. So there'd be no way of him coming back and being a threat ever again. So after this, Ace initiates his good end, or his reset, for a world where everyone can be happy, right? And they don't want to lose him. Each one of them, Michinaga, Neon, and Keiwa, are sad for him to go. And he says, it's okay, I've learned so much from you all, and you deserve a world where you all can be happy, and everyone can be happy. And so he does it. He does the reset, and that's that other timeline we're getting, where we saw Jean and Sumari talking and everything. That was that other timeline, is just after this happened. And he tells her, oh yeah, they're actually considering a new DGP where there won't be any stakes in terms of anyone's life being in danger, just kind of a competition and blah, blah, blah. clearly sowing the seeds for like possible V cinema plots, things like that. Buffa, they have little wall, like a little like these like lines of rope with these little signs on it that look like desire cards with a fox on the back. With a not a fox, or a kitsune on the back, whatever. And it's everybody's wishes. Michinaga wishes to just be able to have meat more often, I guess. And so he's eating some like food with some friends and stuff. Kayla wants world peace, gets to keep his ID core for some reason, but whatever. Neon wishes to keep, recording her for her show and to be happy and eventually find love. We find out that because you do see a scene earlier in the episode where she's recording and there's somebody helping her, it ends up being Kyun. So clearly part of Kyun or Jean's wish was to like fully like be in this time period and just stay here, because they wouldn't have been able, they went through the gate to leave before when they were supposed to, and the gate was deactivated here. We see at the very end Jirori stopping Samus from trying to go through it because it's not going to work, and they all get wiped out. He's like, "This is our fate. This is what's supposed to happen. We should have left when we were supposed to, and we didn't. So we're going to have to go. We're dead." So they must have wished, I guess, the two of them to stay here, or maybe he just assumed, the best for them was to be in this time period. It would make sense for Jean. He wanted to learn more about things and be challenged and stuff like that. And for Kyun as well. And I guess the Kyun Neon shippers win, because it does seem like they at least somewhat kind of have a thing. I don't know. But he's essentially her producer for her videos and stuff like that. So that's cool. Sarah has like a million wishes written on hers about like hanging out with Neon and being able to, go shopping with her and blah, 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 and all these different wishes that she has. We even see behind another one is one from Ben and John asking for like justice for Oni-sama. So it's assumed that maybe Neon's father went back into prison for some reason, and then they want him out, or maybe he's being slandered. I don't know. But yeah, so that's how we end it. And we end on Kawa and, being, sad that Ace is gone, but knowing that he'll always be there in some way, that he helped to forge a world where every one of them can be happy. The last thing we see is the main character for Gotchard run through with Hopper 1 card, and Ace goes past him. And he's like, hey, happiness to you, blah, blah, blah. And a little thing that says #Ace with us. And that's how we end it. I kind of like it. I think it's a pretty beautiful finale. I think it's got a lot of hope to it. I think it makes sense with Ace overall. Ace has always felt very much like Tendo from Kabuto, where he's already this like perfect kind of mostly developed character, and he only changes a little bit because he's already like amazing at everything he does. But the thing is that Ace did suffer defeat. He did suffer losses. He did mess up sometimes. People like to act like he just like never faced any kind of defeat or made a mistake or screwed up or anything, and he did. And he came back from that, and he was always a million steps ahead. I'll never forget the moment where early on in the show, he is taken out of the DGP, right? And basically set up a contingency plan to remind himself that he knew was going to forget about everything, to get his own ID core back, get the memories back, and continue fighting, along with Buffa's help. That was really cool to see that he was like 10, 20, 30, 40, a million steps ahead already. So cool. So cool. I really enjoy this show. It's definitely become one of my favorites, and I want to announce formally here that it is most certainly moved up to my number 1 spot. It is now Geats, then Forze, then Build for my top 3 Rider seasons. I really enjoy it. I don't think any Rider season is perfect all the way through. None of them are completely and utterly perfect, but I think on the same thought line there, each season can be perfect for one person. That person's favorite season does everything right that they want it to do, and that's what Geats is for me. I really enjoy it. I really love it. I think I have a lot of good memories attached to it watching it. The stuff we've done on Henshins and Homies related to it. My own personal OC character, Uchiku Dial, the buckles that I have here, I really enjoy it, and I think it's a really, really awesome show, and honestly, the strongest, absolutely, no contest of the Reiwa era. It even challenges, I think, a lot of the Heisei era. But this is a fantastic episode. I would honestly probably give this somewhere around a 9.5 out of 10, only because I was hoping for a bit more of at least Neon and Tycoon fighting in their final forms before they got brought down to their base forms to fight the final boss, because it just always happens in a Takahashi season. But other than that, most of it is fantastic, and I think a pretty good end to it. But if you guys didn't like it, that's okay too. I want to be able to stress that too, that like, I'm just giving my opinions on the internet. You guys don't have to agree with me, think I'm right or anything like that. Like, if you do, that's cool. But I'm also not going to, like, shit on you if you don't. Like, opinions are opinions and subjective, and people can love it or hate it. One of my contemporaries, Zio Agito, loved the start of the show and bits of the middle, but he hated how it ended. And that's okay, too. That's okay, too. He's a very intelligent person, one of the best Toku content creators out there. And he had a completely different opinion about it. I think that's awesome, you know. That's the beauty of Tokusatsu in general. So, like I said, probably about 9.5 out of 10 for the finale of Geats. I'll probably do a video at some point that's my overall thoughts, kind of a video of like the whole series review kind of a thing, going through, you know, with the characters and, you know, the storylines and the arcs and what I thought about each one and stuff like that at some point. If you didn't watch Henshins and Homies this week, go ahead and check it out. I got it linked below in the description for you guys to go to the page and subscribe if you want to. That's our podcast where bi-weekly we come together. My friend Toka Frankie and I have awesome community guests on, like the likes of Stickosaurus, Squall Charleston, K20 Customs, and many, many others, including Tom Constantine, Kamen Rider Garoon himself. Anyway, and we just had our episode yesterday recorded for our 1 year anniversary. Episode 40 is our 1 year anniversary of recording. And a few different announcements in it. We talked about a few different things. That we're going to have about 49 episodes for season 1 of the podcast. And then we're going to take a little bit of a chunk break hiatus and come at you hot with a season 2. With a lot more improvements, you know, some more special effects, some more production value, different segment ideas, guest ideas, things like that. So definitely something that we're gonna try to put together. I'm also considering kind of like, I don't know if there's a merge accounts option for this and the Henshins and Homies account into one, honestly, because I kind of feel like my time is split between both, and sometimes I kind of like either A, forget, or B, just don't have time to like put all the content out I want for this channel. So I might kind of combine it together and then just do, instead of like only the live streams throughout the week here and there when I have time, record a couple of videos and put those on the Henshins and Homies channel where it's just me talking about stuff. Frankie can do one where it's just him. We can collaborate together on a video, something like that. Haven't fully decided yet. Just kind of something I'm trying to think about to kind of combine things together so that I'm not split between two different kind of projects, and I can put all of my like blood, sweat, tears, and love and focus into something like this. It's not that the channel is going to go away. I'm not going to delete it or something like that. It'll probably still exist in some kind of format, but you might see a lot less content in it and a lot more content in, you know, the Henshins and Homies side of things in terms of videos on there rather than just here. So just kind of something I'm throwing around ideas for. But again, let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think of the finale for Geats? How are you feeling about Gotchard? What do you think about Rider overall right now? Reiwa era? Are you excited for the rest of King Oger? All that good stuff. Love to see the comments, the conversations going. It really means a lot to me. Thank you guys so much for being here for this wild ride for Geats. I really appreciate it from episode 1 all the way to now. It doesn't feel like it's over yet, but it is, because Gotchard starts today as of recording. But until next time, stay hooked on heroes. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Ace with us.